astrotheology course. Our textbook for this course is The Gospel and the Zodiac. The Gospel and the Zodiac, the secret truth about JC, the Christ figure. Now, scholars, you should recall that in our last presentation, one of the secrets of the Gospels, one of these secret truths was brought to your attention, okay? But in my opinion, well, it's big, but it's not drama, okay? It's a big secret, but it's not drama, okay? So we're going to continue on with that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the last video that I did, okay, where we talked about it. All right, so we are on page 200 and, let's see, where are we? I think 216, y'all. Was it two? Yes. 216. 216. Okay. So let's pick up there, page 216. At my time, it's about 6:20 a.m. where I'm at, y'all. 6:20 in the morning, 6:20 a.m. What time is it where you are? What part of the world are you in? Put it in the chat. Let me know where y'all listening from. If you're at North America, put the city and the state, or just the state that you're at. Let me know who's watching, where you're from. I've seen New Zealand. I've checked my analytics. New Zealand, UK, different places in Southeast Asia. But y'all let me know where y'all are at. Okay? This is hot tea. Actually, the caffeine content is very high because they provide it to you concentrated. So I don't know if y'all can see that. But the tea leaves are up to here. Normally, what I've seen the Vietnamese people do, like they'll take this tea, pour it into a much bigger jar, and then add more water to it. So it has a very, very light tea taste. And then when they serve it to the customer, they give you a glass that's full of ice, which means it's going to dilute the tea taste down even further. And it's like drinking water, but it has a light taste of tea. But here they give it to you very concentrated, so I have to be careful with how much of that I consume, because otherwise I'd be caffeined out. I don't like that feeling, because I'm drinking my my black cafe, but I never finish the whole thing. I just sip a little bit, and I let the ice melt to dilute it. All right, so page 216, y'all, we are making our way rapidly toward the end of the chapter on Pisces. Pisces is taken from Mark chapter 14, verse 17 through chapter 16, verse 8, okay? Now remember, this has nothing to do with religion, nothing to do at all with religion, all right? I want to make that clear before we even get started. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video. And then also, y'all, if y'all want to buy this book, you can buy it. I believe it's on Amazon, all right? The author is the Reverend Bill Darrell-El. Bill Darrell-El, The Gospel and the Zodiac. The Secret Truth About JC, the Christ Figure. This is an excellent book to have in your library. Excellent book to have in your library. All right, so let's begin. I'm going to begin on the last paragraph on page 216. Y'all see I'm still not 100%, right? Whew. Wow, that was strong. I've gotten to the point where I can tell Vietnamese coffee, which is a good place to me. I can tell homegrown coffee now. Okay, so in addition to its quote-unquote pagan themes, the final section of Mark has Piscean elements drawn from Jewish mythology. Well, I like the way he worded that. Drawn from Jewish, automatically, or as they say in England, straight away, automatically, you know they're talking about the religion and not the bloodline, okay? Piscean elements drawn from Jewish mythology. In the main, these concern Joseph. Now, y'all remember Joseph is the Bible character that the Jewish theologians, probably before them, probably the dark priest. Y'all know who the dark priesthood is? Y'all want to put a name, put a tag on the dark priesthood? Let me make sure I get the name right first. But I don't want to think about it. We need to move on. It's either this or a variation of it, okay? It's the Saturnalian Brotherhood. These are those people who dress in all black. If you ever see somebody, a hybrid dressed in all black, suspect that that person is a priest in the Saturnalian Brotherhood, okay? There's your dark priesthood today. This is why judges wear all black. The Saturnalian Brotherhood, all right? That's why. Or so-called judges, okay? You think they're gonna admit to it? No. You notice how these guys who always wear, these hybrids who always wear black t-shirt, black jeans, no matter what, everyday black. Usually they have money and lots of it. That's why they're wearing black every day. I bet y'all would have never guessed that, right? I remember back in the day when I was doing my MBA, we had this one professor, shaved head, black every day. The whole 2 years I was there, every day black. And I used to wonder, why this dude always wear a black t-shirt and black pant? What does it mean? That goes beyond the style, right? That goes beyond a style or a look. Every day. And then, of course, later, I realized that he is a member of the Saturnalian Brotherhood. All right, these are people who worship Saturn as a god. All right, and y'all check out the story about Saturn as a god. All right, this is a very, very cruel, very, very cruel power. Okay, so let's continue. So Jewish mythology, my point here is distinguish it, separate it from bloodline, people, or nationality, okay? In the main, these concern Joseph. So most likely the Saturnalian Brotherhood, other parts of the dark priesthood or other organizations that may form the dark priesthood way back then at its inception and today. Well, at some point, they chose to claim or to tag Joseph as being a Pisces. Why? Because they wanted to put your brain in a trick bag so that they could claim the good that Joseph did for the people, his administrative honesty, his honesty in government, in governing the people, and being responsible for an entire nation's wealth. During its hard times, he saved the nation, right? Or he was the instrument, as the story goes, through which the Most High saved Egypt. And then during the good times when they prospered, he was honest. He didn't steal anything, okay? And he didn't do anything petty. For example, like abuse of power, okay? Either through violence or sexually. There's no record of that. So they're claiming that Joseph is a Pisces. And y'all go back and check it in this chapter. The basis for it is flimsy, is actually ridiculous. So they just chose him. Why? Because to the extreme that Pisces is toxic and negative, and the Christians chose Pisces to represent Christianity, they wanted to balance it off with the other end of the extreme. In other words, they created a polar opposite of Pisces in Joseph. Y'all see that? And then they're claiming that what? Christ is also, or JC is a Joseph character. JC is a Joshua character, is a Savior character, who's honest, trustworthy. Y'all see what's happening here? So this is what's happening with selecting Joseph from the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? In the main, these concern Joseph, what? The elements that were drawn from Jewish mythology. Who can we pinpoint the dark priesthood to? The brotherhood of Saturnalia, all right? In the main, these concern Joseph, the Piscean son of Jacob. Do not accept any claim. You should make yourself aware of the claims behind this statement. The Piscean son of Jacob. When you check the reasons why they're proposing or claiming that Joseph is a Pisces, you'll see that it doesn't hold water. In fact, it's ridiculous. Okay? So let's continue. Luke's genealogy informs us that JC, the Christ figure, was the quote-unquote son of Joseph, son of Heli. Now, y'all remember, take that H prefix away and you get Eli. You get Eli, right? Take away the I, the H suffix rather, take away the I prefix, you get El. El is a sun deity. So here we see a solar reference hidden inside of Heli. But in Greek, what is Heli? Helios, right? Remove the suffix H, you get Elios. Okay? Remove the title El or the deity El, and you get El, which is another solar reference, and Ios, which is another solar reference. So you get 2 for 1. Okay? Luke's genealogy informs us that JC, the Christ figure, was the, quote, son of Joseph, son of Heli. Wasn't there a movie called Hellboy? I never thought about that, y'all. Remember Hellboy? It was a red devil-like looking character. I saw it once years ago. But he didn't, if I remember correctly, he didn't behave like a dirty, rotten devil. He just happened to be red, if I remember correctly. Now that I'm thinking about it, that character was a Christ figure. Hellboy. I think that was the name of the movie. Hellboy, right? Remove the H and you get L. You have double L, so you can cancel one L, you get El, the sun deity. So that's taking you back to what? Summer solstice and winter solstice. Christ. The solar reference is Christ in the summer, June 21. And then the devil, winter solstice, December 21. Polar opposites, Hellboy. Now y'all might disagree, it just came to my mind. Interesting thought, it's neither here nor there. I'm only playing around with the word heli, okay? I'm playing around with the word heli. Eventually, scholars, as you begin to learn about root words, prefix, suffixes, infixes, grammar rules that dictate how to use them, parts of speech, which also has to do with the function of the word in a sentence, you'll begin to learn how to play these games too. And just like with children, you learn when you play games, right? Playing games is an excellent way to learn. You just saw me play a game, okay? So let's continue. What games can you play with movie titles or with names of characters? Well, try it. I've got the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, the streaming online course available for y'all. There's no reason why you should not subscribe to that class. It's only $10. Oh, I mean, what do you think of yourself if you're not willing to invest $10 a month for a subscription? No obligation. I mean, but sometimes I'm feeling like I'm not charging enough, so the class is probably not valued. I mean, that's a market reality, right? When you live in a capitalistic world. But let's go back to it. So heli could easily be a corruption of the Greek word helios. All right, there we are, which means sun. So that's a solar reference, right? Sun, S-U-N, disk in the sky. This information is not found in Mark, but what we do find are a number of incidents which echo the Joseph story as we find it in Genesis. So, all right, so you won't find Helios in Mark, but you'll find echoes of the Joseph story, or you'll find things that hint at the Joseph story in Mark's gospel. All right, just as Joseph was sold into slavery by his brother Judah, I'll repeat that. Just as Joseph was sold into slavery by his brother Judah. So whenever you see just as, that's letting you know that a comparative is coming. Okay, a comparative or associative. Two things that are related. Okay, so just as Joseph was sold into slavery by his brother Judah, so y'all should remember Judah wasn't this really wonderful person in the story, right? So JC, the Christ figure, is betrayed to the authorities by Judas. Okay? Judas. So Judah, J-U-D, and let's treat AH as a suffix, or the A as a suffix, okay? And then JC was betrayed by Judas. So J-U-D, and let's treat the A-S as a suffix, all right? So now you see the root connection. Joseph is handed over to the Midianites for 20 pieces of silver. You can check that at Genesis chapter 37, verse 28. JC earns his betrayer, which is Judas, 30 pieces of silver. So they're saying that what? Joseph's life was less valuable by 10 pieces of silver than JC the Christ figure's life. Okay? Joseph's life was sold or valued at 20 pieces of silver, whereas JC's life was valued at or sold at 30 pieces of silver. So JC the Christ figure, his life is worth 10 pieces of silver more than Joseph. Look at it that way. All right? Because what are they doing? They're using a story to create a worshipful mindset, to put value on JC the Christ figure in the reader's head. So that may not be something you have been conscious of, but now you're conscious of it, okay? So these are literary tools or storytelling techniques that authors use to take you someplace, although you're not even aware of it, of what happened to you, okay? All of this is to build value, a worshipful respect and fear and awe of JC the Christ figure through the pen, the power of the pen, casting spells, okay, casting spells, charms, sermons. That's what's happening here, y'all. You're getting an example of it. I'm showing you. Joseph is handed over to the Midianites for 20 pieces of silver. JC earns his betrayer 30 pieces of silver. You find that at Matthew chapter 26, verse 15. When Joseph refuses the advances of Potiphar's wife, Joseph runs away naked as she pulls the garment from his body. Okay, so Joseph is naked. All right? That's the image they want you to have. You can check it at Genesis chapter 39, verse 12. At the crucifixion of JC, the Christ figure, a young man runs naked from the crowd, leaving his linen garment behind. You can check that at Mark 14, 51 and 52. But there's a footnote. The name of the star, note this, y'all. Note this astrological reference. The name of the star Mirach, M-I-R-A-C-H, in Andromeda. Andromeda is a deacon in the neighborhood of Pisces. Remember, deacons are constellations. The name of the star Mirach in Andromeda means, quote, girdle or waist cloth. Y'all heard? Y'all see that? So here is another astrological reference where a star in the deacon or in a deacon of Pisces means waistcloth or girdle. This is more than a coincidence. Much more than a coincidence. Y'all like and share the video, okay? Let me know that my work is impactful. Even Pilate's wife Even Pilate's wife's dream. Y'all go check that at Matthew 27, verse 19. Even Pilate's wife's dream echoes the dreams of Joseph. Okay? Echoes, hints at the story of Joseph. So in other words, they're looking at, whoever wrote this, they're looking at the story of Joseph, and they're saying, okay, that looks good. Let me put that in there. Okay, go back to Joseph did what? What? Okay, let's write this in here about the Christ. Let's put that in there. Why? To connect you mentally, to draw you back mentally to the story of Joseph, so that you could subconsciously or consciously recognize the similarities or the parallels between the story of Joseph and the crafted Christ figure story. And then you, in your own mind, you would put value to that. You, in your own mind, would say, okay, well, the Christ figure must be real because his life is like Joseph's, consciously or unconsciously. Okay? Never suspecting out of your innocence, never suspecting that the authors who wrote this sat around and thought deeply about how to manipulate you, how to take control of your mind and guide you to worshiping this Christ figure through stories. I'm showing you how spells are cast, how your mind has been hijacked by the dark priesthood and kept in the dark and in bondage by your religious leaders, your scholars, at the local, national, international level, in your church, right? And by the way, I used to think that there was only one Hebrew Israelite organization that wears the mitri. But I saw someone posted a video, and I saw another Hebrew Israelite organization wearing a mitri. Now y'all know this, the Hebrew Israelites, they wear the small mitri. Okay, it's small. They wrap it around their head with the cloth. It's usually white. But then, if you go in Southeast Asia, there's another organization. They wear a mitri. It's taller. It goes off the head. The Hebrew Israelite is on the head, the contour of the head. There's an organization, like I said, in Southeast Asia that's big. Theirs go over the head, above it, and it's thin. Watch the Collapse podcast. Tefillin. I'm not sure. Watch the Collapse podcast. I'm not sure who they are, but they wear it. And then, of course, there's the Catholics, and the Pope and the Cardinal. They wear the big, like the huge mitri. They call it a mitre. So, what is this telling us? The Catholic Church wears a huge one. That means they're the big fish. They're the big Dogon. And y'all know what the big fish means, right? Now that's Piscean energy. When they put that mitri on or that mitre on, they're presenting themselves to the people as a Dogon, as a Raphaim, as a deity. Now, I'm talking to y'all about things that are inside the house. Information for those who are inside the house. You're not supposed to know that. You're supposed to, in your innocence, think that it's priestly garb. Y'all go check out the meaning of the Holy See. the Pope's Holy See. Go check that out. The Dogon, the Raphaim, Oannes, they live in the land of the dead underneath the sea. And Oannes comes up every day from the sea to teach the people. Well, when you see the Pope, the Cardinal come up with that big mitre on, and they begin to speak, what are they doing? It's the same scenario. Dogon or Raphaim coming out of the water. Y'all go look up the Holy See. Okay? You're going to see, no pun intended, you're going to see what that Holy See means. And it's probably not what you suspect. Okay? So the Pope is coming in his power and authority as ruler of Rome. Therefore, as a ruler of the entire world, that's all land, all living things, all wombs. Man, woman, human, animal, anything that has a womb. He's coming up as a vicar of Christ in the power and the authority of Roman law. So when your Hebrew Israelite leaders come before you with a mitre on, they're coming before you in the same way that the Pope did. As a Dogon, Oannes, Raphaim, in full power and representation of Rome, the Holy See. So you got the Pope wearing the big mitre. He's the big fish in the pond. The cardinals wearing the big mitre, the big fish in the pond. Then in Southeast Asia, there's another organization. They wear the mitre. It's much smaller than the Catholic Church mitre. Okay? And they're the medium fish in the pond. All over Asia. And then you have the Hebrew Israelites, which is the little fish in the pond, the little bitty one. Okay, you see them wearing the mitre on the head. It doesn't rise up. Why? One reason would be because the Moors have been conquered. Blackamoor, Little Moor. Make the connection, scholars. Make the connections. Okay? So they're the little fish in the pond. Is a minnow a little fish? A really little bitty, itty bitty fish like that? Okay? Nonetheless, they come before you as a Oannes, as a Dogon, as a Raphaim, which is a Nephilim, right? The generations of the Nephilim. Okay? Let's continue. But all of this is Piscean energy. Toxic, negative, duplistic energy coming before you as an elder, solar reference, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Anyway, let's continue. I hope I made myself clear. So they used Joseph to balance that Piscean energy out. Yeah, they hit you, knocked you out, stole all your stuff, oppressed you. But the Christ figure is like Joseph, right? You have all these things to hope for. In your innocence and stupidity, rather, let me rephrase that. In your stupidity, you buy into it. Or you fear it. Okay? Because once you become old enough and mature enough in life, you begin to know that something is wrong, right? But you're scared to leave it. Or whatever your reason is, right? Spooked out. Okay, let's continue. This information is not found in Mark, but what we do find are a number of incidents which echo the Joseph story as we find it in Genesis. Just as Joseph was sold into slavery by his brother Judah, so JC is betrayed to the authorities by Judas. Joseph is handed over to the Midianites for 20 pieces of silver. JC earns his betrayer 30 pieces of silver. When Joseph refuses the advances of Potiphar's wife, he runs away naked. As she pulls the garment from his body. At the crucifixion of JC, a young man runs naked from the crowd, leaving his linen garment behind. Y'all can check that at Mark 14:51 and 52. Even Pilate's wife's dream, check that at Matthew chapter 27:19, echoes the dreams of Joseph. By introducing Joseph into the narrative in this way, Mark is able to point us. How is he pointing us? He's pointing us psychologically, hypnotically. Why do I say hypnotically? Because it's suggestive. Not telling you outright. It's a hint. That's hypnotic. Okay? He's using the mind sciences and mind science techniques in the pen to take you where he wants to take you without you resisting. By introducing Joseph into the narrative in this way, Mark is able to point us to the great lesson of Joseph's life. His misfortunes, see, the sufferings, right? Remember, the requirement of Christianity is that you suffer, which is in opposition and contradiction to the contract that Moses spoke to us. Okay, the contract between the House of Yasharala and the Most High. In religion, y'all call it the Mosaic Law. It is in contradiction to that. The Mosaic Law does not require you to suffer to get all of the tangible wealth, prosperity, and health and peace of mind, and it doesn't require you to have to die. No, you get it in your life. See the big differences? Okay? That Christianity is presenting to you, this big bag of nothing that you need to get in the afterlife by giving up everything now. By everything, I mean your nationality, your birthright. Mark is able to point us to the great lesson of Joseph's life. His misfortunes, that's his sufferings, were part of God's plan. So this is everybody who wants to get into the kingdom. They must pick up their cross and carry it, right? You need to accept that. This is what he's speaking of. Joseph's slavery meant his people's liberation. Now we know that this is in contradiction to Moses' words expressed, or into the, let's speak of it in different terms. The contract between the Most High and the House of Yasharala, autochthonous Moors, does not say that you need to suffer. Does not say that you need to suffer to get the blessings at Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. And these are not spiritual blessings. They are tangible, material wealth, treasures that you can touch, that you can experience with your senses. For example, good health, successful commerce, extreme success in anything you put your hand to. All concrete, all tangible. Okay? But here they are remixing it, saying that Joseph's sufferings were part of God's plan to liberate his people. Therefore, your suffering is part of God's plan to liberate you or your people. No, suffering is a punishment for not following natural law, and natural law is the Most High's commandments. Y'all see how they have twisted this? So the suffering is the law of cause and effect, hitting you in the head, telling you to stop. Stop doing that. Stop. Right? That's the suffering. Uppercut, straight, telephone pole jab. But some of y'all punch drunk. You don't want to stop. Okay? Out of darkness comes light. Out of darkness comes light. All right? JC's death between the two thieves. JC's death between the two thieves at Mark 15:27 echoes the death of Samson. Y'all read about that at Judges chapter 16, verse 23 through 31. Between the two pillars. The death of Samson between the two pillars. Okay, let's say I'm Samson. Here are the two pillars. So when you see two pillars, what should you automatically think? When you see two pillars either Gemini or Jokchan and Boaz, the covenant of labor and the covenant of grace. Okay? Y'all can research that, the significance of that, of those two things. Okay? Watch the Collapse podcast. So what's up with this Tefillin? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? All right, let's continue. Oh, I can't believe this. Listen to what we're about to read, y'all. JC's death between two thieves echoes the death of Samson between the two pillars of the temple of Dagon. That's Dogon. Y'all hear that? See how they're telling on themselves, and now that you are aware of this stuff, you start to see this stuff everywhere. We were just talking about the Dogon and the Raphaim and Oannes. And the author is telling you that JC's death between the two pillars echoes the death of Samson between the two pillars of the temple of Dagon. So here we see that this has a double meaning. Not just Gemini, not just the temple, the contract of labor and grace, but specifically the two fish. Pisces, Dogon. Y'all see that? Dogon is Raphaim, is Oannes. Samson, as we have seen, where do we see it? We're going to go through this book next, y'all. The book is called The Forgotten Language of the Stars. Okay? And Leo, who am I, is a personification of the sun. Y'all see this? So Samson is a personification of the sun. Why? His locks. Right? So his locks are representative of the rays of the sun. Okay, his locks represent the rays of the sun. DBS Probis, like your video. Oh, hey, what's up? That's Tagalog. I was thinking English. Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you so much. I had to switch my brain, y'all. My mind was thinking English, but I was looking at Tagalog. Took me a minute to see it. I'm glad you like my video. I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna give you a call today. Well, you know what I mean. You made me smile. Okay, y'all, so let's continue. He is at the height of his powers when he kills the lion. The lion is Leo, right? The zodiac sign Leo. His strength is reduced by Delilah. Delilah is Aquarius. So remember, Aquarius in modern astrology is an androgynous man or human, androgynous. You don't know if it's a man or a woman when you look at it, right? In modern astrology. Okay, so what does Delilah do? She cuts off his locks, right? She cuts them off. She cuts off the rays of the sun. So if the rays of the sun are cut off, that means the sun no longer has power. It no longer has energy. Hence, Samson has no power. Okay? But he is Samson. But Samson finally dies in the temple of Dagon, which is the Dogon, again, which is the Raphaim, which are the offspring of Nephilim. The Philistine fish god. Y'all see that? Dogon, the Philistine fish god. And what is it called? Pisces. He has in parentheses Pisces. So what is this suggesting? This is suggesting that the Philistines are hybrids. In my opinion, it's worth looking into. Were the Philistines a hybrid race? Well, they had the giant, right? So maybe they were. Somebody else can look into it. If I get time, I will, but somebody else can look into it. All right, so let's continue. The Philistine fish god, Pisces. Now, why would Christianity choose to name its... Yeah, I know it's you, Cheryl. I know it's you. I know it's you. Why would Christianity choose to represent themselves as a fish deity, Pisces, the deity of the Philistines, Dogon? What I'm saying to y'all is no secret. Dogon was also the deity of the Babylonians. Okay? Who allegedly enslaved the House of Yasharala. Why would they do that, right? I mean, why would you want to name yourself after a nation that you have such bad history with, right? Don't make no sense. Unless the stories are not true. Y'all heard? I'm speaking to you, trying to share with y'all that information that is inside, reserved for those who are inside of the house. Okay? Not outside. Let's continue. I lost my space, my spot. Crucified at Golgotha, the place of the skull, JC is every man and every woman, poised between the past and the future, the twin thieves of the divine life. In other words, you're scared. You don't know what to do, so you froze, right? Symbolized by the two fish of Pisces swimming in opposite direction. Okay, you could add to that conflict, all kind of problems. Why? You got a man and a woman going in opposite directions. Pilot and co-pilot going in opposite directions. So what's going to happen? It's going to be a miserable life and an eventual crash and burn. Shalom Islam to all the Moors. I'm DrYasapa from Zion Law School. Support my work to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath in modern English only if you feel it in your heart. If you like what I'm teaching, how I'm teaching it, or anything else like that, and you want to support my work, my ministry to help the people, click on any of the links below and support the work that I do, which is educating and empowering and freeing yourself. Shalom and Islam Moors.